Hi, this is James from Tabletop Gaming Guild, and today we're going to take a look at Stamp Swap. This is going to be published by Stonemaier Games and designed by Paul Simon. And this is a 1 to 5 player game with a solo mode. This game you're going to be playing over 3 different rounds, and you're going to be trying to get the best stamp collection displayed in each of these rounds and score the most points by the end of the game. Now, when we go down to the table here, I'm going to show you how to play the multiplayer version, which you need to know to play the solo version anyway, but we're going to focus on that. And then we're going to come back and I'm going to give you my final thoughts. All right, so this is Stamp Swap. It's time for the annual Stamp Swap and Show, where collectors converge to gather, trade, and display their tiny postal treasures. This 3-day convention is your chance to meet with other attendees, put together a beautiful and well-focused stamp collection, and show it off in a series of contests. The art of the stamp collecting is not just accumulating many stamps, but in collecting high-quality stamps. Do well and you may walk away with the top prize at this year's Stamp Swap. All right, so at the beginning of each round of Stamp Swap, you will select items from a central pool of stamps and attendee cards. I will show you that in a little bit here, representing specialists and exhibitors. Stamps have different scoring characteristics, including color, size, and theme. Next, you will swap some of your chosen items with other players. At the end of the round, you will add stamps to your album, arranging them carefully to maximize your scoring. The goal is to have the most points after 3 rounds of scoring. So your scoring for the game is going to be at the end of each round here. You're going to get points from the exhibitors. You'll have points for having the first player token and a different contest card each round, which I'm going to show you in a little bit here. You're going to score points for the value of your stamps that you're going to place out. I'll show you that in a little bit. Your specialist cards and the number of forever stamps you have in the final contest. So the game, again, is going to go over 3 days. And you're going to start with collect, swap, and show. You'll score. You're going to do that all 3 days. And then you're going to have a final show for the 3rd day. All right. So how do you set up the game? Well, setup for the game is super, super easy. The game does come with this really nice board here. Not board, but container here to hold all your pieces. Just make sure they're shuffled up to go inside of it. And you're going to have 4 different sizes, and these are your forever stamps. So you'll set this in easy reach during the game. I'll set this off screen right now because you don't need it. You're going to give each player a player board here, and each of these player boards are identical except for the exhibitor. So in here, you're going to get 1 point per monument stamp. I'm going to show you what all these stamps are in a second. Some of these here, like you get 1 point per space stamp. And there's going to be a bunch of these that you can pick through the game here. So up to 5 because it's a 5-player game. You're also going to give a player 3 of their tickets and 1 for each day of the show. You're going to give them a player reference here. It's going to show you what you could do for collect, swap, and show. And on the back here, it's going to show you those different stamps. So remember where you said they could be color or theme. So you have purple, yellow, blue, green, and brown. But they also can be by theme here. So you have 5 themes also. You have space, monument, animal, flower, and vehicle. You also have 3 different types of stamps, which I'll show you in a little bit here. You're going to have your good stamps, you're going to have your cancel stamps, and you're going to have faded stamps. Faded stamps are going to have negative values on them instead of these positive values. Now, it's a good thing to remember, and I'll bring this up right now. These stamp values don't matter until the end of the game. You're going to score the value of the stamps or subtract the value of stamps at the end of the game. Cancel stamps count for nothing, but keep that in mind. You're not going to be scoring the value of your stamps each turn. You're going to be looking for the criteria that you picked. So that's what you're going to need to give out to your player. The only additional thing is going to be their starting cube. You're going to give a cube to them, so that the green player gets the green cube, and a cube over in the 0 position on the board that you placed out here. Also, you're going to take this day tracker and put it on Friday on the collect section here. All right, and then we need to put out our bonus goals. So the bonus goals here are going to be in this deck right here. And there's going to be 5 different colors. So what you're going to do is, like, I'll take the green here. We're going to shuffle up the green and we'll put one out. The rest are going to go back into the box. We're going to do that for each of the colors. So I'll do that for orange. And one goes out here. So you could already tell there's going to be a lot of replayability in the game because there's a lot of different goals that could potentially be coming out per game. So every game is going to be different based on just this part in general too. So here's, whoops, sorry. All right. Then we'll do yellow, and then we have the final, and we'll have that as the blue. So there's yellow. And here's blue. All right. So these are different things. Like, you have to actually put your tickets down to score on these, and this is just going to happen. So surrounded stamps are worth 3 points. All right, a couple last things for setups that's super easy is you're going to need to shuffle up and place out these attendees, and then you're also going to need to shuffle up and place out the deck of event cards. We're going to show you that when we go into the collect phase, what you need to do. But for now, the last thing you need to decide is whoever mailed a stamp or mailed something last will get the first player marker. If you're not sure who that is, just figure out a way that you're going to make the first player. And we're ready to begin the game. All right, so the phase, as you can see, starts with collect. But before we do that, we have to set up the stuff that you can collect. So we're going to take out 3 cards here. And we're going to place them like so. We'll place one here. Then we'll place the other one over top of the wording. And the last one over top of the wording. Now this last one is what's going to be the additional benefit for the round here, and this stamps forever. At the start of the collect phase, add 2 forever stamps from the supply to the pool. But we could have had jackpot, which is at the start of the collect phase, each player reveals one additional item from the supply and adds it to the face up pool. Each player could collect 7 items and reserve 1 more item. So that's pretty cool. But we got stamps forever. So we're going to put over 2 extra forever stamps. Now, there's a couple things on these cards you need to pay attention to. But so we don't forget, we're going to start creating this pool here. And for now, I'm going to set the player board aside so you can see the pool. So we'll put out the 2 forever stamps that we got from Stamps Forever. That starts the pool. Now, we also take a look at these cards, and we're going to place those out. So this one, and you're going to look at the shapes. They're going to correspond to the shapes. Shapes also, so when we look at these cards, these little guys right here, they also have the symbols on the back here. So you could see that if it says to put out the star symbol, it's going to be the large stamp. If you could see it like that, it's going to be face down. Otherwise, like, for example, this one right here, that'll be face up. So we're going to go ahead and place these out. I already started on this card, so I'll go over there. This one's going to be one of the larger ones. That'll be face up, so that'll be the rectangle, so face up. This one here is going to be these little round ones here. It's going to be one face down, face up. And onto the side where you see this card, you're going to go ahead and grab one of these attendees, and that's a card you can get. So we did the middle one. Let's do the top one now. So the top one, we're also going to get a face up and face down stamp like this. And we're also going to get a large stamp. So we'll put that out, like a rectangle large one. That's this. Then we're going to get the super large stamp here with the star on it. That one will be face up. Then we're going to have a face up smaller, or face down smaller stamp, and another forever stamp, which is this little picture right here. So you can see how that lines up there. Those are how that comes out. And we're going to do the last one here. The last one here is going to have another attendee card that'll come out. Now these don't need to be separated in the way that they were. They just need to come out into this pool where everyone can pick from. So then we're also going to get three of these, two face up, one face down. We'll get the smaller square here. Oops, sorry, these ones need to be the other one. All right. And a forever stamp. And this is our pool. And we're going to put out the number of these, which is one thing I didn't mention, for the number of players. So I'm showing 5, but I'm only putting out 3. You would have actually put out 5 of these, so you'd have a giant pool. So let's reduce this down to 3 so we can have a littler pool that you could see, but you would put out cards equal to the number of players. So now that I have the pool here, what do? Okay, well, let me rearrange this so you can see everything a little better. All right, starting with the first player, they're going to select from the pool here, but starting with the first player is going to go ahead and put the first player token out. Now, they're going to be able to select anything from here, and they're going to be putting this in their daily collection slots. So I could reselect the first player if I want, but what I'm going to do instead is, or I could pick one of these specialists here. During the show, you may rotate new stamps into any orientation as you place them, which is pretty cool. Normally you can't rotate these stamps. They have to be basically face up the way that you see them. The specialist here, after you cut, if one of your piles has no face up stamps, you may draw and reserve one stamp face up, which is pretty cool. Or I could grab some of these stamps. Now, one stamp we didn't see here, which I'm a little surprised about here, are going to be, I'm going to grab one here. They're going to be these stamps here. And these stamps are special. They're going to count for scoring at the end of the game for their shape, but they are no color and they're of no theme. But as you could see, these guys are worth a lot of extra points. Like this guy here is going to be worth 12 points. These ones, which you'll see in a little bit, are rare stamps and they can't be reserved between rounds, which I'll show you, but you can pick them up if they're available. So I could pick one of these face down stamps. So let's say I pick this one because I'm looking for monument stamps. Actually, I should probably just grab a monument stamp and place it down here. But if I pick the face down stamp, I can look at it, but I don't show it to anyone. I leave it face down. Now, other people are going to pick, they're in turn order, going to pick what they want from this pool here. When it comes back to me, I'll go ahead and grab another one. So if this monument's still out, you know what? I'm just going to capitalize on monuments. They're going to pick stuff. So let's say we have randomly these gone. I'll go ahead and try to see if there's any more monuments that are out. Now I'll take this one, and now that I took it, I can take a look at it. Wow, I was lucky I got another monument. They're going to pick their stuff and come back to me. I'll pick another one, and so on and so forth until we fill this up. So if no one picks this first player marker for one reason or another, the last person to gain a stamp will gain this first player marker. One advantage to this, if no one takes it and the last person gets it, they don't put it in with their 6 daily collections here. They will just put it off to the side and it will not be placed into the swap, which I'll show you here in a minute. So the way that the swap's going to work now that we finished our collection is each player, which I'm going to bring out another one here, just to show you. So let me reset this up for showing you how this interaction works. All right, now that I have everyone set up here, I'm going to show you how you're going to do the swap part on here. So the swap part here, you're going to state out 2 stacks, 2 piles for people to pick from. So before you do that, you can reserve a stamp so everyone can go through, or a card. So this one reserves the specialist. I'm going to reserve this monument stamp. They're going to reserve this vehicle, they need vehicles. I don't have any vehicles. They're going to say this is a vehicle. Now, one thing to note, even if it's face down, if it's rare, you cannot put it in the reserve. So then we're going to make 2 piles. And a pile needs to have at least 1 item in it, but it could just have 1 item. So I could say, you know what? I'm going to put these 3 in this pile and these 2 in this pile. And this player here is going to be, I'm going to put, I'll make this pile and I will have this pile. And this player will be like, okay, I'm going to put all 3 of these forever stamps in one and these stamps in another one. They'll just do it like that. They just want that 1 stamp. So they're going to go like this for one reason or another. All right. Now, starting with the player who has the first player marker. Now, if the player would have put this into their daily collection, they could have reserved it, but it would have otherwise been in a pile. But if no one would have picked it, it would have been off to the side here, not put into a pile. Starting the player with the first player market, whether it's in the pile or not, they're going to swap with someone. So I'm going to say, you know what? I want, since we are looking at the scorings up here, which I'm going to show you a little bit on that board, I'm going to go ahead and take these 3 stamps and swap it with these stamps here. So I'm going to take these. So this is going to go down, showing they keep it. This goes down on my side. Now this player, unfortunately, has their animal stamp there, so they didn't think it through really well, is now going to have to swap with someone else. So they're going to, okay, you know what? I'm going to take yours. So these come down. Now this player has done being, this swapped both of theirs. This player swapped both of theirs. This is going to be the player's turn to swap, but they have nothing to swap. So you're going to go in clockwise order to the next person who hasn't swapped. If that person is the last player, all of their stamps will go down into their collection here, and this part will end. Now, if they're not, they'll go ahead and swap with someone else, and it'll continue on until everyone has swapped. We're going to go into the show phase now. Let me go ahead and set this back up so you can see the show phase a little better. All right, so we'll move this marker over to the show phase, and that's the phase we're in right now. So in the show phase, you're going to be placing out these tiles. Now, these stamps here. Now, there's just a few placement rules on here. You can move this around as much as you want, but once the show phase is over, they're stuck. So I could place them anywhere along this board as long as they don't go over top of another stamp. So I can't place it over top of another stamp, or they go outside here. So I'm going to be placing these, and what I'm going to look for is a couple different things. I have my exhibitor thing, which is simple, just 1 per thing, but I can also pick one of these scoring things, one of these 4 scoring things for the end of the round. So this is cancel stop stamps, not on any edge. So I want to make sure, since this is a cancel stamp, if I want to select that it's not on any edge. And I might do that in general because I'll pick that up later. So maybe I'll put that one there. And I have a good bit of canceled stamps here. So I have all canceled stamps, which is pretty nice. So maybe I do pick this one here. This one here is large squares in one group. So this is going to be 6 per stamp. So I might want to hold on to that because I might want to pick up larger stamps in the future. This one here is of all themes. So right now I have 3 themes, not 5 themes. So that'll give me 9 points per step. So I probably don't want to put that. And second most abundant color. Now these are all pretty self-explanatory, and they're explained in the back of the book. But what the second most means is, so let's say I have 2 purples here. The second most here would be green and yellow, and I could pick one of them. But I'm going to get 4 points per stamp that way. So that's not a really great starting one. So I've arranged my stamps however I want. They're not going to be on any edge. So I'm going to use my ticket now. So you're going to have to use a ticket per round. And I'm going to place it on the canceled stamp here. Now, any number of players can put their stamps here, but you cannot put your stamp on the same place where you've already had your stamp. So I cannot score for canceled stamps anymore. And one of these 3 I'm not going to score for in the game because there's only 3 rounds. So I'm going to put here, and I'm going to want to get 2 points per canceled stamp. So now that I've done all that, I could do the scoring. I could score the point on my exhibitor here, so 1 point per monument stamp. So, oh, I took away my green marker. I'll gain 1 point because I have 1. Now I decided to cancel stamps because I ended up having 3. That'll give me 6 more points. So I will now be at 7 points. Now, one thing to keep in mind throughout this game here is time goes by and you gain more points, you could wrap around the board. When you first time you wrap around the board, so the first time I get to 50 points, you're going to put this marker here on the 50 points, and I'll start it on the track again. When I come back around, I move it up to the 100, and if I come back around again, I move it to the 150. So that's how you keep track of points above the 50 mark that's on the board here. And that's why you have a cube that you start with in the game, outside of the scoring cube that's over there. So that is simply how you're going to do the show phase. You're now going to move on back onto the collect phase. So you're going to actually put out new events, and you're going to place out your pool again, just like I showed you, and you're going to go through the collect, through swap, through show. You'll do your scoring. You'll put out your ticket. Your ticket will be in a new place. You'll have a bigger board. And you're going to continue on through Sunday until the final show. Now, in the final show, there's some additional scoring that you're going to have in the final show. So you're going to do a forever stamp count. So these forever stamps here, I had 3 of them. I should have been putting them out. Let's say I put them out like this. You're going to see who has the most forever stamps. Whoever has the most forever stamps is going to score 10 points. Which you could see on the board here. The second most is going to score 6 points, and the third most is going to score 3 points. Now, if there's a tie for some reason, they're going to get the higher one up. So if there's 2 people tied for first, they're both going to get 10 points, but the next player is going to get the third place amount, not the second place amount. So ties are friendly, but they do still take up both the number of slots that were for the ties. This is the point where you're going to get the value of the stamps. So in this case, I would have 0, but I would have other stamps out here. So this would be a 1. There's some negative point stamps and such, but so you would subtract scores or whatever and add up scores, and you would get those points. You're then going to score your specialist cards. Your specialist cards, if I had any, they would have gone right here. And there's no limit to the number of specialist cards or extra exhibitor cards, because some of the specialists are exhibitors that you have on there. But any of the specialist cards that you have, regardless of what they are, give you 2 points each. So you're going to score 2 points per specialist card. That's the only thing I have this entire game. They should have wrote that on here. They're sort of walking you through the scoring. Everything you need's on the board, and that's just the one thing they're missing. So the last thing you're going to do is you're going to score the final contest card. And this one here is just going to simply be for surrounded stamps. You're going to get 3 points each. And one thing I did gloss over, which I did mention a couple times, but I will mention again, not on the final show, but every time you go to your shows each round and score, the first player token is worth 2 points. So you also would have got that. Since this player would have had 2 points instead of that 7 there in the first round, they would have got 9 points. So I should have been here. So don't forget that you also score for this. But that's it. The person with the most points at the end of the game is going to be the winner. If there's a tie, the tied player with the highest total value of rare stamps will win. And again, those are going to be the ones with a foil, gold foil on them. If there's still a tie, the tied players share the victory. And that's going to be how you play Stamp Swap. This is a really easy game to explain and get into. You're basically going to be following this path here, and these cards here, these player reference cards, do a really great job of explaining how each of these work. So very little that you need to do here in explanation that isn't available on here. Everything's clearly written. Component quality for this game is amazing, just like any of the Stonemaier games. Love these stamps. Loved those. Let me bring that out again because I just happen to not have any right now. But these rare stamps with the foil on them, oh my gosh, so cool. They went all out on the arts on the stamps too. The art's all different on the stamps, which I do appreciate. Really gives it a very nice aesthetic throughout the game. This player board's good. You also have really good card quality on here. The only small gripe that I have is I wish that these were like cardboard instead of um, the like a thick board like this instead of what these are. But that's a small gripe. That's perfectly fine. If it super bothers you, you could laminate it. I did that for Terraforming Mars, which these are much thicker than the Terraforming Mars boards, by the way. Terraforming Mars boards are just overglorified paper, um, sheet paper. This is much thicker than that. I just wish it was a board. That's the only thing in components that I have any like small gripe for. These tickets are amazing. I like how they're nice and thick and nice. But that's it. So that is how you play Stamp Swap. Let's go ahead back up the table here and I'll give you my final thoughts. All right, so that was Stamp Swap. Like all Stonemaier games, the production quality of this game is phenomenal. I especially love those rare stamps and that like gold sort of coating on them. Really, really cool. Really great production quality. That is just through the roof. If you're looking for a good quality game for your money, this Stonemaier games are always a great pick for that. They're always a great value. The gameplay itself is fun. It's going to be I split you choose mechanic on there. If you aren't into that mechanic, you're not going to be into this game. I understand. I like it a lot. It gives a really big decision on like how you want to split this up. You tried to get these stamps through the drafting portion in the beginning of the game to meet your point stuff, but you know your opponents are probably going to try to mess with your plan, so you have to divide those two stacks in a way that no matter what, you're going to get something you want, or you can try to push your luck. And that's where people can get hurt in this game, because they'll try to make a stack like that might benefit someone else, so they're hoping that you're going to take that stack, and then put all their really great ones in one stack. And then what happens inevitably is someone takes that stack that they put all their scoring stamps into, and now they have a whole bunch of less suboptimal stamps, let's say, to place on their board. So you have to be into that mechanic, that I split you choose mechanic, to really enjoy this game. If you love that mechanic, this game is definitely 100% for you. That is going to be the shining star mechanic of this game, is that I split you choose portion of it. There's a lot of neat decisions in the game when you're going to be using your ticket to score, which stamps you're going after or trying to prioritize. You're going to need to really have a good amount, a surprisingly good amount of player interaction in this game, because you're going to need to pay attention to what other people are doing. If you're going to do similar things to them, you're going to get in trouble, because when you do that I split you choose portion of there, they're going to probably go for the nice juicy stamps that you have in there. The face down stamps can also be a bit of a gamble, but there also could be a boon, because if you get a good face down stamp, you can bluff it to into your I split you choose to gain it, or you can make it seem better than it actually is and have someone maybe take it. So there's a little advantage to taking the face down stamps. You do have that little bit of randomness to it, of what it is, because you don't know what it is, but then you can use that to your advantage on the next portion. The game does play very quickly, so I think that's very important for this type of game, because really there's not a whole lot that you're doing other than trying to align it for your points, trying to determine which one's going. So the game goes pretty quickly. It's pretty fluid in that, and I think that's really what makes this game, is that you get to do all these stuffs, you put them out, you put these things out, you go, really good. And the want for you to pay attention to what your opponent's doing and have some player interaction is also really great for this game itself too. So like I said, if you like the I split you choose mechanism, or you like the idea of it, this is definitely a game you're going to want to check out. And that's my thoughts on Stamp Swap. If you like what we do, please like and subscribe. It really helps us out a lot. Either way though, I hope you all have a great day, and thank you for watching.